Okay, so like I've made this item with my group. So I wanted to ask you how strong the stop motion effect is in the item.
I liked it. I thought it was, because you had the guy walking across the screen, I thought that was quite an interesting way of doing it, because rather than having something sort of flat on the table, it was quite nice because the way you did it was flat, obviously, but it looked like he was standing up. I think it's quite smooth. Yeah, I think you did a good job of it as well. You can't see any of the kind of green screen, like any issues with that. The kind of backdrops went in quite nicely. Yeah.
I kind of disagree because I think he's like walks a little bit off, but
Right.
you know, I definitely improve that next time.
I think part of the good thing about stop motion though is it does look a bit clunky. So if it looks too smooth, nowadays it's almost like people presume you did it on a computer.
Yeah.
And there's something really nice about stop motion that it's DIY. It's kind of like there's something magical about stop motion, and I think actually when it looks a little bit crap sometimes, that's actually a strength because it means more kind of for the channel that you're trying to brand, like a youth channel. Yeah, you don't want it looking way too polished. You actually want it looking a little bit clunky, maybe.
Yeah, a bit rough.
Yeah.
So also, how strong are the editing techniques in the item?
Yeah, I like you use wipes going through, I think, from the scenes. I think that was a logical way of doing it. Yeah, I think that they worked quite well. I think from the music you chose as well, the kind of movement of him walking was enough to kind of go in time with that. You didn't need beat editing or anything. So.
Yeah, like we tried to do a bit of beat editing, but it was a lot more difficult. We were like constrained for time, so
Yeah.
yeah. So how well has it been shot and framed? Are there any improvements you'd recommend?
Not really. I think it would be nice if you'd have shot your own backgrounds, I think. So if you'd have actually got some of these cities with and filmed them yourself, it would have given you more flexibility rather than having stills. Or if you'd have filmed kind of urban areas. But other than that, yeah. I mean, the idea comes across quite well.
Okay. How controllable, like professional, does it look on screen?
Yeah, I mean, I think it doesn't... Again, it's... If I'm being honest, it's not quite broadcast quality, probably because of using the found images. I think the main bit of critical feedback I'd give is I think it's clear that it's supposed to be like a kind of city-based thing, but I think you can misread the channel as being like a kind of travel channel, rather than being like an overt. You know, I wouldn't be able to tell you that it's a definite youth culture channel. I would have said it could be mistaken for a youth travel channel. So that's the only bit of feedback I'd give that's critical of it.
Okay, so would you say it was appropriate for a youth audience like 16 to 25 year olds?
Yeah, I think so. I think the editing and the music, the animation and music matched them. As I said, I think the only thing is I'm not sure what type of channel it is, or what the brand identity is. I mean, if I had to give a brand word, I'd say your channel means, I'd probably say travel. Which may or may not be what you intended.
Well, we were trying to go for something that was quite explorative, so it's semi there, not fully, not to
Right.
avoid.
Okay, that's interesting then. Yeah.
You know, it was something that we just wanted to show that it's quite worldwide and that it's not just for London youth or French youth or anything like that.
That's brilliant. In which case, then, yeah, I think that's kind of spot on then. Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, have I created a strong brand identity for the channel?
I think looking at things like E4 and BBC, I think they've got a stronger awareness of how you get a strong image that everyone's going to remember. And I think with yours, it might not be quite strong to stay in people's minds. Do you know what I mean? I think that it hasn't got... I think some parts of it, there's a lot going on, and it doesn't maybe draw attention to the kind of channel name itself as much as it probably would want to. So for example, on the BBC one, you've got the circle with the one in the middle of it. That's going to stay in your head. I think yours maybe doesn't have quite that kind of punch to it.
Yeah, like we tried for a U, and like that's why we used a lot. We used U a lot, trying to associate UrbanNet and U. But
Yeah.
that clearly hasn't gone too well.
Yeah, I think U's quite an open to interpretation thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, you know, this channel doesn't actually exist, so it's kind of difficult to do it without having that.